Blog Talk Radio.
Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This is the 90 Degree Show, brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. I'm your host, Joe Beard, and happy to be of service for you today. Today is October 14th, 2012, 3 o'clock on the West Coast, 6 o'clock on the East Coast. We really appreciate your call today. And we really appreciate your time, and we really appreciate you listening. We changed the format of the 90 Degree Show to cover all the games each week, and we will talk about a featured matchup each week as well, in addition to the others. We will watch videos of bands throughout the week, the staff and I, and based on the matchups from the college pick'em from HBCU Digest, and hope that that you guys will call in and give your own experiences as well. We'll have a round table of ideas and minds about what happens each week, and I guess we could say who won, or we can spread the word about who's good. We can bond. A really exciting time here on the 90 Degree Show. So go ahead and call in at 718-664-6025, 718-664-6025. You can email the show at marchingpodcast@gmail.com or tweet us at marchingpodcast. You can go now to the website at www.themarchingpodcast.com and our blog. Check out our blog, 4.marchingpodcast.com. We have Chris Jones, I think, on the show. He's on the road, so you'll have to excuse if he has a lot of the air or whatever going on. Chris Jones, are you there?
What's up, man?
What's going on, Chris Jones? What's going on with you?
Hey, man, just trying to make it back to the QC, man.
Yeah, Chris Jones is on the highway. That's what I was just telling the folks. Chris Jones is on the highway.
What's up, my listener audience? How y'all doing today?
All right. We're talking Week 7 in this episode, and our featured matchup this week is Kentucky State versus Miles. I've used the college pick'em from HBCU Digest. He always has a pretty cool pick'em where he decides on who's going to win each week, and it's really cool for me to select the band matchups each week.
Right.
So we'll go ahead and jump right into it. How are you feeling? How you feeling, Chris Jones? As far as how was Week 7? Did you check out any bands this weekend?
It was interesting. It was interesting, and we just hitting our main game this week with the Miles College and Kentucky State. I just have to say, Miles, y'all come with it, but y'all got to work on that brass a little bit more. The upper brass, man, the trumpets, man, they need to work on them. They're not strong, Joe. They're not strong enough. But they got some troopers, though. They got some dogs out there, bro. Now, Kentucky State, I don't know. I just got to be honest with y'all. Y'all all right, man. Y'all all right. And, I got to, hey, this show, we got to call it like it is, right, Joe?
Yeah, just call it like we see it,
We got to call it like we see it, man. Y'all all right. Being that both of us have had a lot of experience on the HBCU level and seeing the things that we've seen, I just have to say, man, y'all have to really start analyzing your drills, and maybe people are not coming to practice, or maybe we're just seeing some stuff that, you think is good. Now, I'm just being honest. You can hate me, love me, whatever. I just call a spade a spade. Now, we got Kentucky State. Kentucky State has, the instrumentation was mediocre in a sense. They have some tubas. They have about 8 tubas. They have about maybe 10 to 12 trumpets. The middle brass is all right. Percussion section is loaded, but all in all, I have to say Kentucky State, you're stankin' to me, and you're definitely not cranking yet.
I want to give a shout out to modern technology. Shouts out to YouTube and all of the band avenues for and all the people posting the videos so we can see bands from across the country. And a special shout out to the people now that I subscribe to on YouTube. These people have their own channel where they post videos from all the battles each week. And the best part about that is that I'm meeting these people. And a lot of these people went to lots of different schools, and this allows us to observe more bands and give a better analysis on more than just the popular bands. So, I can show these people some love. We already sent a shout-out to Garrett Edgerson. He's wilding out through homecoming festivities. He's probably resting up before class right now. And Gerald Howard of bandhead.org. But we'll go ahead and get to some of these people in the future. I know that we'll be contacting them. I've talked to a gentleman, 1911, who is really good friends with Taylor Whitehead, and think of course Marching Sport HD is Gerald. I think that Dark-Sci, and that's Dark-Sci D3. DT Hood, I think I'm subscribing to him now, and he responded. And there's some other people we'll get into, but that's definitely for a future show. But shout out to all the people that are posting the videos so that we can give you guys a good show. 718-664-6025. You're in the 90-degree show in week 7. And as far as my analysis about Miles and Kentucky State, I saw that Miles is cranking. I mean, they sound good for their size. I tried to check out as much of them as I could. I didn't find too much on Kentucky State except them, or too much of them this year, and they were in a parade. And they sounded okay, but I mean it was just a parade, so it really wasn't anything to go on.
Not a downfield drill, but a concrete situation.
Yeah, concrete situation. So I listened to Miles. I think they're a force to deal with. I watched a video, Stands Only LDC 12. That was the title. For all the listeners out there, you could look at Stands Only LCD 12. And they don't have that much power, but their low brass is legit.
Low brass is legit.
Yeah, I think they're similar, Miles and Kentucky State. I saw the halftime show from the Labor Day Classic, and they march pretty well. Miles, that is. They march really well, and they have good energy throughout the show. So I guess it looks...
Did you check out their drum majors? Their drum majors got a nice style, too. They have their own different style. I like that, though. They have their own style. Not a personificated style of somebody else or different of the band or their Bethune-Cookman type or their Jackson State typo. They have their own style, and I like that. I do. It's impressive. It shows tradition too. Miles started off having a small program at one time, a very, very small program, and with it being that small, they got the numbers up. In the early, I would say in the early 2000s, they were really smoking. I remember I saw them in 2004. And they had over 200 that year. They were really happening that year. But, the numbers have dwindled, but they still keep that impactful sound and that style that they have. And it's great to see bands, not just in the Alabama area, everybody notarizing Alabama State and Alabama A&M. There's other schools there in the Alabama area, too. But back to you, Joe.
Yeah, they they sound pretty good. So, it looks like both of us are saying that, Miles looks like they may have taken that, that competition. Of course, this is based on what we have. I don't know where the Kentucky State video is. I actually put something on for the fifth quarter, looking for Kentucky State videos. I haven't got any responses, but as far as, we know now what we know, it looks like Miles may have taking the W on that one. We looked at some more analysis of some more bands. I'm going to give you guys some more of the matchups from week 7. And also talking about some of the bands that are, in these matchups and potentially what we've seen. We had Stillman and Tuskegee, Alabama A&M versus Alcorn, Bowie State versus Virginia State, Hampton and Norfolk State. It's the Battle of the Bay. Lincoln, Pennsylvania, and Lincoln, Pennsylvania, and Elizabeth City. Livingstone versus Shaw. Let me finish reading off these, Chris Jones. Morgan State versus North Carolina Central. Delaware State played South Carolina State. Kentucky State against Miles. We already covered them. North Carolina A&T versus Howard. Winston-Salem State versus St. Augustine. And, we got some more. Mississippi Valley State played Grambling. Clark Atlanta played Benedict. Southern played Texas Southern. That was Southern's homecoming. Edward Waters played Weber International. Weber International, I don't think, is a historical black college, but Edward Waters was there. Florida A&M played Savannah State. Alabama State played Jackson State. Fayetteville State played Johnson C. Smith, and Morehouse played Albany State. So if you guys if anyone attended any of those matchups, go ahead and call in at 718-664-6025. You'll be on the 90 Degree Show with me and Chris Jones. We're talking the matchups that we know and the analysis that we have. So going back through that list, I kind of wanted to touch on somebody. Going back to the CIAA, I wanted to talk about Elizabeth City. Now, yeah. When I came up, and when I was there at Johnson C. Smith in the late '90s, Elizabeth City, Livingstone, all those bands were like the scrubby bands. Yeah, you look forward to playing against them because they were so bad. But I'm impressed, man, with Elizabeth City. They're on our website right now, one of the videos of the week. They played Lincoln yesterday, and it was hard to find 2012 footage on Lincoln. Their band is the Orange Crush. But I saw some videos on them from last year, a homecoming performance. And they're small, Chris Jones, but their percussion section actually kind of stood out before everything else. So,
awesome percussion section. I saw them punch against, they did a drum battle against A&T, and they really, really held their own. And they were outnumbered, but they held their own. Their cymbals were off the chain. The snares, they have good cleanliness and on the snare line. But, Lincoln itself, they're small. You're right. But it's not about numbers. It's about quality, though, Joe. It's about quality. Yeah.
They and we didn't see them this year, but from what I saw last year, they looked okay. They looked okay because I wasn't even sure if Lincoln had a band, but they're a proud school. If you do some research on them, you'll see a lot of stuff about them. But Elizabeth City, I was really, really impressed. They were. They had a full sound for their size. I mean, they're not powerful, but they sound good, and they're loud enough. I was sent a shout out to Gentleman 1911. He's familiar with the program, and he told me that the band director there is a Tamisha Brock, one of the two. She went to Virginia State and she went to Norfolk, so that means she studied under Harold Houghton and she studied under Paul Adams.
And let me tell you something. Let me put a little 2 cents in there too. There's a gentleman that teaches biology there. He's a former drum major at Jackson State, the Sonic Boom of the South. He was one of the best drum majors at Jackson in the early '80s. He's now a professor there, and he works with the band as well too.
That's cool. She and the band director, Tamisha, she's also a Sigma Gamma Rho, and she's a Tuba Phi Tuba Brass Fellowship. That's something that I think that's over there. I believe that they're going to be on the show, Gentleman 1911, and he's going to talk about that. I'm sure Taylor knows about that, but that is something that they do over there on the East Coast, Virginia, North Carolina area, Tuba Phi Tuba Brass Fellowship. We'll find out more about that in the future. But getting back to the director, he told me that her husband is an assistant director with her, and they went on a major recruiting spree last semester.
And it shows.
And most of their band is freshmen. And so, they're going to scare the CIAA the next couple of years. So, shouts out to Elizabeth City. They're complete. I mean, they're complete. Like, they're producing more complete sound than a lot of bands. I mean, they're on the top tier as far as sound and bands with not that much power, I would say.
But, Joe, get back on that Livingstone game, man. Come on, let's go through it, man. We got Livingstone, man. Let's get on it. I can't even hold it back, man. I can't hold myself back, man. Just to talk about Livingstone College.
Well, we showed Livingstone some love, a little bit of love last week. Troy said that he saw Livingstone and he heard that they were on a come up. I'm not even as sure as Livingstone is. I mean, they're good, but who knows if they're as good as Elizabeth City. I mean, it's going to be a really good matchup.
I don't know about that one, Joe.
I don't know, man. I think that Elizabeth City, they're pretty complete. But, you're right. Livingstone is good. But back to...
do have a problem with Livingstone is the drum majors are marching like Jackson State. They're doing Jackson State. They are trying to emulate the whole style from the rooter to the tutor. From the beginning to the end. There's not anything that's original about Livingstone right there. And, I know a lot of those kids coming from the Detroit area, and they're coming from that area now because that's where they're recruiting from. That's their melting pot to recruit from. It just dawns on me, though, that you still got to have identity. And I'll lead to the point of saying that Livingstone doesn't have identity, but they sure are blowing.
Yeah, so... that's a really good point. So I think that Elizabeth City, I think in that matchup they probably took out Lincoln, Pennsylvania. Looking at some more of the list here, as far as some of the matchups that we saw, and we talked about Livingstone and Shaw. We already talked about Livingstone a lot, but Shaw. They're big for their size. I saw Shaw. I saw Shaw. They had 2 halftime shows I was able to check out on the web. I didn't find anything on them in the stands, but they're bigger than what I expected. But they didn't have too much precision in their drill, from what I saw, and they had a little bit of I'm not going to say a little bit. They did have some energy. I take that back. They had energy. It just wasn't a lot of tightness in the drill, and they seemed to get kind of tired towards the end. Oh, I'm sorry. I take that back. They had great conditioning. I take that back. I'm sorry. I'm looking at too much stuff here. They had great conditioning. They had great energy, and they were strong. They could probably play late into the night. You know what I mean? If their book was that long or, their conference was that extensive like that.
That don't happen like that no more.
Yeah.
Those.
But the only thing I guess I could knock on Shaw from what I saw was the intonation and the articulation. They have some strong first trumpets that, they were, cranking out some notes, but they didn't have that support to carry the sound, and they didn't have that support to make that power. So, and I think the person that wrote the songs or selected the songs for Shaw, it didn't play to their strengths. They played Rhythm Is Gonna Get You, Gloria Estefan, and they played Bustin' Loose, a lot of staccato, but it just sounded like ran together. You know what I mean? It just wasn't tight enough.
Sloppy. Everybody think it's about blowing and just having this blasting sound, but man, it's articulation,
it's that clarity, it's you gotta have it. But I definitely think that Livingstone it was more complete. They had a more complete and they had a clear sound, and they looked better on the drill from what I've seen. So I think that probably Livingstone took Shaw on that one. You think so too, Chris Jones?
I have to agree with you on that one. So I would say they were cranking. Yep. I would give the W to Livingstone. Let's move it on then.
Yeah, man. Looking at some more of these, and you bring up crankin. Unfortunately, we only got 10 minutes left in the show, Chris Jones. But talking about crankin, I'm looking here on the list and I see South Carolina State and Delaware State. I have to say, South Carolina State is cranking Pretty Brown Eyes. They are cranking it.
South Carolina State, the one-on-one is bringing the A game. I do give them props. The only thing I got to say about, and I go back to this traditional thing, man. I remember the one-on-one from back in the day, and I have to call a spade a spade. They march like Morris Brown. If you put Morris Brown uniforms on them, you would think they were Morris Brown. Now they don't sound like Morris, but they march like Morris Brown. The style, the drum majors, everything is Morris Brown. And South Carolina State had their own identity, and I'm sorry that it happened to them like that. But the one-on-one it is a great band, but the program was even better back in the day when they had Sergeant there and they were doing the one-on-one style. The one-on-one is a traditional band and it's a standard historical band, and we stole that from them. We took it from them. We took their identity and made them in Morris Brown, South Carolina State College.
Yeah, I mean that's tough, and RIP. And thoughts and prayers to the Sargent family. I know he passed this year, but yeah, they miss him in that regard. But but they sound good. It was a really good battle with them and Bethune-Cookman, and that's all over the web. I mean, it was just really something to sit back and listen to some really good songs and enjoy some good HBCU bands. It was a really good battle. But as far as I think you and I both agree, I think that they took out Delaware State. We don't really have too much time to get into Delaware State. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm sure they did. Right quick, let's talk about the boom, and we'll get that out the way. We show some more range. We can talk about more than just the boom. But they play Alabama State yesterday, and Alabama State is loud. You know what I'm saying? They are loud. They come with a lot of heat, but it's just not clear. It's not clear. It's not articulate. And they actually have a version of Pretty Brown Eyes, and it's not tight. Especially after you heard South Carolina State.
South Carolina State gets a thumbs up on the Pretty Brown Eyes for me. But Alabama State, now I did like hearing when they play Birthday Cake. I did like that. But they do have one of the hottest, and I got to say one of the hottest necks I've ever heard in my life. That neck is off the chain now. They got a nasty neck now.
And to tell the truth, man, I don't really be knowing the names of the songs sometimes, but they got a song that's cranking. I don't know. Maybe you could tell me what it is. What's the name of that song, Chris Jones?
I can't remember the name of that song, but I know what you're talking about, man.
Hey, that song be getting me hype. I do not know the name of it. Listeners, I'm sure you know what it is, but Alabama State be cranking that joint.
Yeah.
They just
got a nice bass line to it.
They just not clean. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, they're powerful, but just the melody just does not stand out in front of the band. Sometimes when you listen to Alabama State, you grooving because it sounds good, but then sometimes you're like, what? Like, what was that? Like, maybe they don't know their music or something.
Covering up the melody. That happens a lot. You got to know when to step out the way, have that lead line voice. That lead line voice, if they have the melody, give them the melody. You can't just have baritones bellowing over everything and confusing the whole genre of the music.
Oh, man. Okay, shout out to Garrett Edgerson, man. He said June 27th is the name of the song. Okay. Appreciate that, because I sure didn't know. You know what I'm saying? But what do you think, Chris Jones? Do you think the Boom took an L to Alabama State?
No, I don't think the Boom took an L. I think Alabama State might have taken an L on that one. The Boom has really come with a different style and real clean this year. I have to put them on the level of marching wise with Southern, because they are being very precise on their drills. I'm loving that. I am really impressed with that. Now, as far as drum majors are good, but I know they can be better. I know they can. Alabama State, I have to give you props on keeping your tradition and your standards, but you didn't take the W this time. I have to give the W to Jackson State, the Sonic Boom of the South, and they were cranking.
I mean, right, because both bands are coming with it. It's just the clarity is the difference. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that we're saying is because Alabama State, it's just too much like what, like what, and I think that like you're right. I think I give the Boom the edge on the precision of the drill as well. You know what I mean? All right, Chris Jones. I'm trying to think of another matchup. We probably got one more that we could talk about, and then why don't we go ahead and just talk about A&T. North Carolina A&T. Yeah, they played Howard. What do you think of Howard's band? I saw a little bit of them playing Black and Blues. What did you think about Howard, Chris Jones?
In one word, they get the no-no. Howard is not the band that they used to be. The Ooh La La dances are the only thing they have still going on. And the band is just not on the level that it used to be on, man. And they don't have the intensity. I guess I don't know what it is. Maybe it's in the D.C. area, or maybe it's just the fact of the matter that they have a different band director, or maybe they're just not loving the band like they need to. I don't know what it is, Joe, but they are mediocre to me, and I got to give them the the L on that one because I know A&T was coming with the A game. Because they had, matter of fact, they had senior day, they had high school day Saturday. And they're going to put on a great show for the high school kids they trying to recruit. So, hey.
But yeah, they were coming with it, right. You know, I saw Howard, like I say, they were playing Black and Blues, and they sounded a little sharp and they were a little thin. You know what I mean?
Sound like
Black and
Blues.
And it didn't have that much power or much volume, but they were complete and they were clean, though, like I could hear what they were playing. It was just like really, really, like it was like really, really low in volume, you know. And A&T, I mean, there are a lot of videos out there on the web. So of course they were louder, they were more full, but they don't have that much swag on the field. Maybe they're more hyper in the stands, but in their show they just seem average.
I got to disagree with you. I like their swag on the field. I like their drum majors. I like their band sound. They're trying to actually have a swaggish type sound, and then they have chest tenors. I love chest tenors, and also they put on some of the most creative shows that I've seen. I have to give them that. If you look back at when they did the Sprite Challenge, man, they came out, the dance girls came into a tent, walked out of the tent in 5 seconds, had on a different uniform. And then their tenor line, they had this persona about their tenor line. They do all kinds of crazy stuff on the field, man, all kinds of stunts and flips and all kinds of stuff with the drums on.
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that part, but I'm just talking about each individual bandsman, I guess, a uniform hypeness. I don't see it. I see average marching. I see average energy. And like you said, I see a lot of the stunts and a lot of the flair getting my attention. But it's not like I'm looking at like, man, look at that trumpet squad right there. Their knees are in their chest. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Now we can say that about Bethune-Cookman. Those boys be marching.
Right. They march and they look good. We down to 90 seconds of the show, unfortunately, man. So I think this is a good format. We'll keep trying to watch as many bands as we can, and we'll go through the list, and we'll try to talk about as many matchups as we can. Feel free to call in every Sunday. We'll be doing the 90-degree show every Sunday, going over each week and all the matchups. Anything to say? We got 60 seconds left. Anything to say on the way out, Chris Jones?
The thing I got to say is, man, shout out to Anthony S. Jones at Harding High School. Shout out to my nephews. Hey, we got to do it this week. Hey, we got to make things happen. Let's go. And I got to shout out to Sonic Boom of the South, and I got to shout out to Double IOS and Johnson C. Smith. Peace, love, and chicken grease.
We really appreciate it, Chris Jones. Check out the website at www.themarchingpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks to you for listening, and remember, the eye is a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. See you next time.